do as part of the mentor program. In areas like Kings Fall, where there's lots of jumping puzzles, we've noticed that a decent amount of people do actually struggle to figure out where their feet are and how to land in the appropriate locations. One of the other things that I'm pretty interested in is going as quickly as possible. I like to hang out with my friends and have a good time when I play Destiny. And one of the ways that you can do that is getting through kind of daily missions, weekly things as quickly as possible so that you can get all of your experience, get your loot, and then, spend the rest of the week just having fun with your friends. And one of the ways to do that is to learn how to jump and move through the maps as quickly as possible. So I'm going to start today. I'm just going to do the Earth and Moon missions. It's Voidburn and Airborne. So I'm starting out with my Voidwalker, and we'll do one mission here, and then we'll go in and do a strike with the Solar class. And then we'll load into some patrols and work with the Stormcaller as well. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So while we're loading into the mission, I'll give you guys a peek at what I've got highlighted on here. I've just started out with some of my favorite settings. We've got here, I don't typically use focus control. The only reason I don't is because, again, I do like to move as quickly as possible through the environment. And the easiest way to move quickly through the environment is by using Focus Burst. What Focus Burst is going to do is it gives you like a initial speed. And I really like that. When we're working through, running as quickly as possible. And it actually works great with the Warlock jump as well, because if you use a sword, you can do what's called a sword skate or a Warlock skate. So I'll show you what that looks like. So on the Warlock, if you're sprinting along, a lot of people call Warlocks a slow lock because they run slowly and they jump slowly. But if you actually know how to use the sword and how to use Focus Burst to your advantage, you can actually run faster than a hunter and almost as quickly as a Titan, which is pretty cool. So I'll just demonstrate a little bit of, without the sword, one of the ways that you can optimize your run. So when you're a Warlock, if you're just running with your feet flat on the floor, you don't actually go very quickly. Oh, and I should also mention, when I'm on my Warlock, I always have my agility as low as possible. And there is a reason for that, which I'll explain. When your agility is high, you get a lot of height. And that's actually detrimental when you're trying to go as quickly as possible with your jump. Because if you loft too high, particularly with a Warlock, you already jump so slowly and float through the air so slowly. So if you get too much height going, it takes forever for you to fall down. And that actually puts you in a little bit of danger when you're moving through the environment, especially if you're being hit by things. You don't want to actually, have that loft going for that long of a period of time. So, what I like to do instead is have my agility very low. And I'll kind of show you what it looks like to not use the sword skate, but just rather to run. So what you do is you can run with your feet flat on the floor like this, or you can toggle, which is basically starting your Focus Burst and then immediately finishing it. And what that does is it allows you to hop into the air and fall straight to the ground. And you'll see how quickly you kind of move through if you do that. Now, if you're running downstairs, it doesn't work. I'll show you what I mean. So if you're running down the stairs, you actually get too much height and you don't fall as quickly. So when you are running downstairs, you want to just run and save this burst stuff for when you're kind of on flatter terrain. So I actually went where I wasn't supposed to go because I'm not actually paying attention to what this mission says. So that's one of the ways that you can run pretty quickly. Again, you just, you run along, you tap your A button, and then you immediately just fall straight to the ground. And it allows you to go very quickly through the terrain. If you guys do have any questions while you're watching this, you can post them in the chat and I'll kind of fill you in on what I'm doing. So this is kind of what it looks like if you're not, in the sword view. And I'll run to the next crack
okay, good scan.
just by running.
Not enough to locate the ritual yet. Let's keep looking.
So you kind of want to also, as you're doing this run, you want to kind of point your view to the ground. Because if you point up when you do it, your trajectory is going to match wherever your gun is pointed. So if when you're trying to run quickly, you point up, you're not going to fall down. So what you want to do is you want to kind of point your gun toward the ground and wait until you start to fall before you tap your A button. And then you'll just propel yourself into the ground. And this is faster than just plain running. Now, a little bit more of an advanced technique, if you want to get fancy, you can use your sword to run extremely quickly. Some people are a little bit better at this than I am, but I'll at least demonstrate what it looks like. So what you do when you're on relatively flat terrain like this, it's a little bit hard to get the timing at first, so just go ahead and practice when you try to do this. What you want to try to do is hop, but don't double jump just yet. Again, so what you do is you sprint, you hop, and then what you're going to do is you're going to tap your right bumper. For PlayStation people, I think that's, I'm not sure actually, R1 maybe, R2, not really sure how they number those, but you hop, you hit your bumper, and then double jump while you're in the air. So I'll demonstrate what that looks like. You sprint, hop, and double jump. And if you're finding that you're, hopping in the air and you're not propelling yourself forward, all that means is that you're hitting your A button too quickly. Oh, thanks, Tin Soldiers. I appreciate that. And welcome to the stream. It is confirmed that it is R1 for the right bumper on PlayStation. So again, what you want to do is you just want to hop, right bumper, and then your double jump. So it's hop, right bumper, double jump. And it doesn't actually work, in all terrain. And again, if you don't type it correctly or tap the buttons correctly, you just end up slowing yourself down. But don't get discouraged. Just go to an area like this and just practice doing that. Okay. The other key piece that I think is pretty important when you're dealing with trying to go as quickly as possible, and certainly with the sword skate and with the warlock, who loses so much speed if there's no sprint available, I always run Yolder. I probably don't have the most optimal roll on this particular Yolder, but that's okay. The advantage of using Yolder is that it does allow you to never have a sprint cooldown, which is really helpful. So we'll go over here and do the next part of the objective. And while I'm doing that, I'll talk a little bit about Focus Burst and how you can use it to your advantage when going through weird terrain. We'll see in this location, there's lots of buildings, there's some enemies off in the distance. You've got potentially a sniper that'll spawn up in this location. Good morning, James. So everybody, we have a very esteemed guest with us today. This is James Work, has just showed up in chat. James is a Destiny streamer. He does raids all day, every day on his Twitch channel. He's a partnered streamer and a good friend of the Dame, so everybody swing by and give him a follow if you're not already following him. He does raids all day, every day, and we absolutely love him. He's a great friend of the Dame's. So as I was saying, in these types of locations where there's lots of cool terrain and enemies that are potentially going to see you where you're running, the Warlock jump is so great for navigating these areas. The jump is nice and floaty and floofy, which actually works awesome to your advantage because you can change direction while you're in the air. So as an example, if we hop over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter this area. I've got a sniper off in the distance, so I'll just pick him off real quickly. Maybe. I'm a terrible, terrible sniper. Just wait. Oh, I got him. It's a miracle. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump up and I'm going to land on this building. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be running straight at it, but I want to end up pointing toward these enemies because I'm going to want to kill them. Preferably throw a grenade at them. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to see that I'm pointing kind of toward this spire as I'm jumping, but again, I want to end up pointing toward the enemies that are over on this platform. So I'm going to go ahead and run down the hill and jump toward that, but I can change direction while I'm in the air and do things like throw a grenade. So let me demonstrate that again. So if you're off in the distance, you know where you would need to end up looking, but you know you can't jump in that direction because you're not going to get your feet in the location you want your feet to be. What you do is you just point in the direction you want your feet to go. And while you're in the air, you can turn and point in another direction. It's really effective with the Warlock. You can also do it with the Titan. I find the Titan's jump to be a little bit fast to get as effective of pivots in midair. But it is still effective in doing that. So I will go ahead and scan this next location. Game's trying to tell me where it is. It's like, you're taking forever, Morgan. Come scan me.
I got it.
All right.
We have to go deeper.
So now we'll talk, so that's Focus Burst, a little bit of the sword skating, a little bit of, terrain navigation. Now we'll talk a little bit about Blink. Now Blink is it can be very frustrating, but it can also be very effective. So I went ahead and selected Blink. You can definitely use Blink to your advantage if you're trying to navigate terrain quickly as well. I'll show you what it looks like if you try to do the sword skate with Blink. I did it by accident the other day and it was pretty funny. If you lose track of what you're doing and you're like, oh, I don't even